Welcome to the Perrysburg Podcast, episode 58. I am your host and Perrysburg resident Kim Newlove. Today's episode is an interview with Perrysburg resident Alona Matchenko. We'll talk about what brought her from Ukraine to Perrysburg, why she likes living here, the nonprofit organization she founded, which is called Toledo Helps Ukraine, and how the Perrysburg community can help both Ukrainian refugees living here in America and the people of Ukraine through donated money and items. What's this about item donations, you're probably thinking? You'll hear Alona talk about it during our interview, but here's a preview. Through September 30th, 2024, Toledo Helps Ukraine is collecting items. It is called Pallets for a Purpose. Stick around after the interview. I'll review the donation details that Alona will give, including what to donate, where to donate, and more. And I'll also share how Thrivent is helping me support Pallets for a Purpose with a grant to buy flashlights. We'll get to that story about Thrivent in the last few minutes of this episode. No, this episode is not sponsored. It is just a thank you to Thrivent. I want to talk about how they are helping me help the people of Ukraine. But first, if you are new to this podcast, welcome. The Perrysburg Podcast is an informational podcast for prospective, new, and current Perrysburg, Ohio residents. We talk about what's in Perrysburg and why people like to live here. Our website is perrysburgpodcast.com. Without further ado, let's hear from Perrysburg resident Alona Matchenko. Alona, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Alona Matchenko. I am a first-generation Ukrainian-American immigrant. I came to the United States in 2016 as a result of the Revolution of Dignity in Ukraine. I'm a mother, a wife, a law graduate, and the founder and executive director of a local nonprofit that supports Ukraine called Toledo Helps Ukraine.
Awesome. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. You wear a lot of hats, so to speak. So yeah, much respect to you. I'm a wife and mother as well and a business owner. So I get it. I understand you.
Yeah, I think it's every woman. Every woman is capable and inevitably faced to be a master of many trades. So I'm proud to be among those unique people.
Yep, you fit right in. What brought you here to Perrysburg?
Well, in 2019, my family and I had the opportunity to purchase a home in Perrysburg through Wood County auction. And so we were drawn to the community and have lived here since then. It was a wonderful experience to be able to bid against the professional fixer-uppers. I remember being just a newly mom. I had my baby on my hands, and I would come and bid against the people with work clothes and hats. And it took us a year to obtain ownership of the home.
Nice. Do you like living here in Perrysburg?
Yes, we could not be more happier to have a chance to be surrounded this wonderful community.
Great. Now, did your husband immigrate with you to Perrysburg?
Yeah, that's a very interesting story. My husband actually is an American, and that is how I am now stuck in America. Of course, I'm kidding, but he convinced me to stay back in 2016 when I came just as an exchange visitor. I met my husband here in Perrysburg in one of the local churches where we played volleyball together. Shortly after, we become a family.
Congratulations. That's a great story. I don't know about you, Alona, but I love a good love story.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, sure. I met my husband when I was in high school, and we actually met at a pastor's house. And I'll cut to the chase here. That pastor ended up marrying us 8 years later. So everybody's got their story, and it's kind of cool to hear yours. Yours involved volleyball. I don't think I've ever heard of a love story that involved volleyball before. So thank you for bringing something unique to our show here.
Yeah, so my husband is local. I call him Toledo. He was born and raised here. And that's how our union started.
Very nice. Now, you said that you're a law school graduate. Where did you go to law school?
University of Toledo College of Law. Yes, I'm an alumni from local university, and I cannot say more good words about the experience there. I felt belong, being a not native speaker in a competitive environment was a challenge, but the faculty and staff and the whole university was instrumental in helping me to obtain my education here in the United States. In fact, one of the reasons of our successful launch of nonprofit was the fact that I was a student at that time when Russia invaded Ukraine back in 2022.
I'm happy you found the support that you needed as a student and also establishing your nonprofit organization. I also went to the University of Toledo, but I'm a pharmacist by training. Go Rockets. I had to stick that in there.
Yay!
Yes, go Rockets. Thanks for cheering with me. All right. Now, as far as actually living in Perrysburg, what do you like about living in Perrysburg?
Perrysburg offers a welcoming environment for people from all walks of life. It's a place where diverse backgrounds can come together to build a comfortable and promising future. This is an attractive feature of the town where we live, and I'm very much grateful and honored to be here.
Great answer. I'm so happy that you enjoy living here and you feel welcomed. That's great. Now, if you were talking to somebody who was thinking about moving here, what would you tell them about what makes Perrysburg great? What's in Perrysburg? Why would they like living here?
As with any life change, moving it can be difficult. And that is why some aspects are very important to me in particular is, of course, weather. In Ukraine, we have the same weather, 4 seasons, as here in Northwest Ohio. So that's important to me. Closest to the river, because we know that weather get influenced by the water that we have. We have a wonderful sunsets here. I think we are part of nature, and some aspects of such is important to me. But as to Perrysburg, as I mentioned, Perrysburg is known for its welcoming residents, convenient locations, and abundant of opportunities to live. We have stores, we have access to a highway, of course, a hospital. We have many amenities to raise our children, parks, schools. Is notorious for being one of the best schools in the area. Of course, I would recommend and suggest anyone who are looking to relocate is to come and join us in Perrysburg. It's a community that truly embraces newcomers.
I agree. Thank you for sharing that. I really feel like that was your experience, and you're saying that because of that experience. That's awesome. As far as schools, I think you have a school-aged child, right? Is she 8 now?
Jasmine is turning 7 on September 14th, and she already have a list of requests what she would like for her birthday. So we're trying to accomplish with my husband all her wishes.
I think your daughter is going to have a great birthday. 7's a great age. And how does she like school here in Perrysburg?
We did not get a chance to be enrolled in the local schools, even though we were planning on it. But due to our busiest schedule, when I was a law school student, we were in research for a daycare, right, at a kindergarten and a preschool that is open for many hours at the day. Because my husband has a full-time job, and being a student in law is also like a full-time job. So we started with Toledo Christian School back 3 years ago when they accepted Jasmine at the age of 3. And since then, she developed this bond with all those students and children. As I said, with teachers, it's very hard to move. That's why we know firsthand how difficult it can be. But if Jasmine will give us a green light, we will, of course, enroll her without hesitation to her neighboring community, because we know many of our neighbors cannot say more good words about Perrysburg schools.
There are a lot of good options. I know that some of the people in Perrysburg choose to send their children to St. Rose Catholic School as well, and that's not a public school, but you know, some some people like that Catholic education piece or the Christian education piece, and I don't blame them. There are a lot of really good options around here. I'm glad you found a good fit for Jasmine. What about people who are brand new here? Maybe they have just moved here. What advice do you have for your new neighbors?
Explore. I would think don't be hesitated to go and explore. We have community events where we can get to know each other. As I mentioned before, amenities as library is a wonderful place to meet at any time of the year. We spent many evenings with my daughter there when I was studying, and it could very much be a place for both, for somebody who is a student and who is a parent. Additionally, don't hesitate to reach to local government with any questions or problems that one might face. In my own experience, the city council is very helpful, and it's evident that their work is oriented on serving good in our community. Back in 2022, when the war started in Ukraine, that was one of the first places I went to receive support. I get so many connections to good specialists who would help me to raise awareness and spread the horrific news and gather support. We had some encounters, of course, with the local zoning, and I can tell that they are also working for our best. Urban Development Department in Perrysburg Council is very skilled in suggesting, and it's against stereotypes about zoning. We always get to feel a little discomfort sometimes when we hear the word zoning, especially if we are business owners or entrepreneurs. But it's not the case in Perrysburg. We have a first-hand experience in Perrysburg City where we receive a lot of support. So, but overall, I would say do not hesitate to reach out and explore the community around us.
That's good advice. And I think this is a good time to segue into talking about Toledo Helps Ukraine. You just talked a little bit about zoning. Why would you have come across a zoning issue?
Before the Toledo Helps Ukraine established, and my husband and I, we were in the midst of opening group home for elderly with disabilities, and that's where we encounter some processing with local government. But unfortunately, due to our involvement, a full-time involvement in helping the people of Ukraine to first escape from the danger, and then later on help with aid for those who decided to remain in the country, we put on pause our personal endeavors. But Toledo Helps Ukraine was supported by the council and many specialists. In fact, one of the council is on our board, Tim McCarthy. He has been working diligently to help us running our nonprofit. Among others, of course, we have a wonderful Wood County Sheriff. It's a true community when anyone can feel supported on every stage of their life. So when Toledo Helps Ukraine arose, our mission was to raise awareness and funds to support Ukraine get closer to freedom. We, of course, provide humanitarian aid and foster international solidarity. We went to Washington, D.C. and spoke to our representatives back in April. You can learn more about the work of Toledo Helps Ukraine on our website. It's 4ua.org. And stay connected through social media where we post updates. What's unique about Toledo Helps Ukraine is that it's involved the work of all of our community where we can see the results of our efforts firsthand. It's been a challenge for many people who support nonprofit is to see where the funds actually go. With Toledo Helps Ukraine, you can talk to me personally, you can see me sometimes sorting or moving items that we ship eventually to Ukraine, or you can simply drop those items to our locations. So I would say what's distinguished us from other nonprofits that do humanitarian relief is that it's local and community oriented, so everyone can get involved. We only have 2 part-time workers and the remaining of team of volunteers. And it's been 2.5 years since we have been blessed with dedicated volunteers.
It takes a village to make things work sometimes. I know they say it takes a village to raise a child, but sometimes it takes a village to make an impact. Would you agree with that?
That's a key component. Absolutely. Key component. We are meant to be together as humans, exist together, and interact. And in any stage, either it's a happiness, either a good moment in our life, it's wonderful to be supported. And of course, when the struggle comes, that's a necessity, is to be united.
Yes, to bear one another's burdens, so to speak. I think that's a phrase possibly from the Bible, if I remember right. But I mean, I think that when somebody from our own community, like you, Alana, creates a nonprofit organization and is very specific about what you're doing, then if you just ask for help, often that community that you're a part of will reach out and help. So let me just recap what Toledo Helps Ukraine does. So it's an organization to help individuals who are refugees here in America and also people who are experiencing the conditions of war in Ukraine currently due to the invasion from Russia. Do I have that right?
Yes, the first prong is very broad, and I would like to say that to help refugees on the ground, the one that arrived to United States, to United States soil, it involves more than just organization. We partner with many local ones. We, of course, work closely with language schools. We work closely with resettlement agency. So Toledo Helps Ukraine were mostly a connector between the beneficiary who requested to be relocated and the sponsor who hosted and helped them further with assimilation and relocation. When it comes to a second prong of our mission is aid, we specialized on gathering supplies for Ukraine. And one of the factors it's important to mention is we purchase all supplies in the United States. So we support U.S. economy as well, while it can serve further beyond the borders, saving somebody's life. As of 2023, Toledo Helps Ukraine is no longer relocates refugees. It will decrease of inquiries. People are tired of the war and they are coming back to Ukraine, and we cannot influence such decisions. So we focus our efforts on helping them rebuild their homes and get back to a normal life as much as it can sound normal. Of course, there's no safe place in Ukraine right now. The bombs can hit at any place, but people, despite of the danger, desire to remain in their homes. So we shifted our efforts to help those on the ground, and that's what we do since the beginning of 2024. I should have said, not 2023, 2024.
Right now, there is an effort to fill up some boxes. It's called Pallets for a Purpose. Let's start talking about that, because I think that what you just said about helping people rebuild their homes kind of ties into Pallets for a Purpose. Would you like to talk about that?
Yes, Pallets for a Purpose is a community-driven initiative from Toledo Helps Ukraine, under which we encourage and invite local businesses into friendly competition to raise a pallet with critically needed humanitarian supplies, which we will gather and administer with international shipping. So anyone in our community and beyond can participate either as a business owner, or an individual where we can raise necessary items to aid Ukrainian people. Those items include batteries, power tools, tarps, non-perishable food, socks, boots, anything that can help victims of the war, victims of that devastation that Ukraine faced. We already have many businesses participating. Rossford has been very active. Pilkington, one of the first who joined. We have, of course, Toledo Rotary, Perrysburg Rotary. We have smaller businesses, a consulting agency. One doesn't have to be a producer of such items, or business doesn't have to produce those items necessarily as their main goal of their business. It can be a worker-driven initiative where everyone at the business, the employee, can bring something from their home, a pack of batteries, or perhaps a generator, or medical survival supplies to work, and then gather the pallet from their business, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think it sounds like you have a shopping list, so to speak, and you have distributed it to a number of organizations or businesses who are then collecting those items on the list. Makes perfect sense. I know my church is collecting. It's Lutheran Church of the Master. It's somewhere in Perrysburg. It's on the east side. For anybody that's never heard of it, there is an episode on the Perrysburg podcast about our pastor, Pastor Mark Wentz. I think it's episode 34. But anyways, that church, Lutheran Church of the Master, is collecting flashlights with batteries, tarps, work gloves, hammers, screwdrivers, and wrenches, socks for men, women, and children, work boots, and blankets. And you can drop those off at Lutheran Church of the Master, 28744 Simmons Rd Perrysburg, between 8 a and 11 a on Sundays, or by appointment. Call the church office, or I'll put a link in the show notes to the church. You can probably just message the church online there. But I just wanted to say that it sounds like you have a number of items that you're asking for that aren't necessarily on my church's list. So can you talk a little bit about where my audience can find the list, the full list, and find out, where to donate other than my church?
Absolutely. First, I want to acknowledge the Church of Master on Simmons Road in Perrysburg. They not only were the first who helped us with relocating a family to Toledo. So the Pastor Mark let me speak back in 2022, and it resulted in one local family in Rossford, Johnson's family, hosted the very first Ukrainian refugees in Toledo area. So applaud to the bravery and courage of the local church, because it's created a grassroots campaign. It's created a chain reaction right after one person, one community stepped in, and then we connected 18 more families to local sponsors, sort of say here Pemberville and Slovenia, and we have one in Perrysburg, of course. We have beyond Northwest Ohio community. We have one in Athens and Columbus, but it all started with the Church of Masters. So applaud to them. And of course, they continue being very supportive. They are now stepping in Pallets for Purpose by offering one main drop-off location for people who would like individually donate, not by pallets. As I said, it can be a pallet gathering, and it can be individualized. So when someone would like to just bring a bag of supplies, they can drop it at Church of Master in Perrysburg, which is a huge support for us. When it comes to pallets, we do have a warehouse in Temperance, also donated by local business Carden Corporation. They've been supporting our initiatives of shipping 3 years by now. If anyone wants to learn more about the items needed in Ukraine, please visit our website, forua.org, or our Facebook group. For those who like social media, is Toledo Helps Ukraine, where in detail we explain what items are needed. But if you can sit down and think, my house was just wiped off, say by tornado. We are thankful in America we have peace, but it can be similar to losing everything. Where do I start? Of course, we don't ship furniture yet because there's nowhere to put it. So we get essentials for people to start building their life once again. And that's where the generators, the tarps that can serve as a temporary roof, the gloves, boots, and of course, non-perishable food that can fuel us in this process, fuel the victims of the war. So if you can just sit down and think what one need when their life was completely wiped off, you can bring those items. We do not accept clothes at the moment, but we will in future. This shipment does not include clothes besides socks and boots.
Thank you for all that information. That was more than I expected, and that was wonderful. Now, if there are people out there who say, I don't really want to go out and shop for items, I'd rather just give money, is there like a money collection as well for this Pallets for a Purpose or just for Toledo Helps Ukraine in general?
Yes, shipment costs money, but I want to reassure you that it's more efficient to ship from United States that will arrive to Ukraine within a 30 or 40 days than to go to Europe or just simply send money. As I said, it serves dual purpose. We support U.S. economy, and when we ship, we found the best partner that provide us with reasonable prices. So it costs to ship 40 feet container from Toledo to the place of destination, which comes to central Ukraine. It costs $6,000 to $8,000. It might sound a lot, but if you think about 40 feet container, it can include many items that go beyond that number. For instance, we just received several pallets of donations of medical disposable. That total worth is more than $175,000, and it's only 2 pallets. The container include 22 pallets, and only 2 of them can worth that much and can serve a long way there on the ground. So it's of course efficient to pay $8,000 in return of long-lasting supplies that were so much more.
Got it. So, do you need
We
help
will go.
money
Yes.
for
Yes.
shipping?
Yes. So we collect funds as well, and donations can be either sent through checks to our address in Perrysburg, or we can donate online using forua.org platform, which is our official website. It's a simpler process where we can just click, we can select the amount we would like to donate, or as I said, simply send a check to our address in Perrysburg. I would like to reiterate that Toledo Helps Ukraine is a 501c3 designated tax-exempt entity, which means that all donations are tax-exempt. Internal Revenue Service even expedited our application to receive that status due to the need of humanitarian relief. Usually, for those who are aware, it can take a month and a year to gain the status of nonprofit. When Toledo Helps Ukraine got there within 6 days.
Wow. I know it's not a race, but congratulations on that expedited win. I mean, you got
Yeah.
your 501c3 status quickly, so you were able to start collecting funds, forming plans, collecting supplies, and helping people. Good for you.
Yes, of course, it's not a race, but it's additional evidence as to the necessity and importance of such work. So even the United States government, in particular taxing agency, recognize the urgency of such endeavors.
Urgency is such a great word for it because war can't wait. I mean, you have to help people now. And I see you doing that. Thank you for the important work that you do. Alana, you did a really great job of telling me what's on your checklist and where people can donate money to help with shipping and the items that are needed. Is there anything else that the Perrysburg community can do to help with Pallets for a Purpose or just Toledo Helps Ukraine in general?
when I get asked this question, what else we can do, I always like to say that keep up a good work. It's been 918 days of the war, and there's been no time when Toledo Helps Ukraine did not receive a call from a local resident asking how to support. That tells a lot to me, and I would like to encourage people continue doing the good work. We still operate only on the generosity of people who are around of us. So all other nations come from Northwest Ohioans who are continue not being supportive and not indifferent towards humans' pain. So continue good work. You want to learn more, reach out to Toledo Helps Ukraine at foua.org. We are always looking for volunteers and financial support to continue our mission. But overall, I'm very, very grateful to call Toledo my second home.
Very nice. I appreciate your encouragement for the Perrysburg and Northwest Ohio communities to continue, keeping up the good work. But I just want to say to you, I don't know how lonely it can be to run an organization like this, but you keep up the good work too. Thank you very much for the important work that you're doing. I know you're making a difference. And as we start to wrap this up, is there anything else you'd like to share about anything that we've talked about today? Living in Perrysburg, Toledo Helps Ukraine, or Pallets for a Purpose?
I'm immensely thankful for you inviting me and given me a chance to be a voice on behalf of the people of Ukraine. It's important to continue inform our society about actions from Russia. We will continue to fight. Ukrainians are resilient, tenacious, and very resourceful. We rely on the world's support, and I am grateful for being one of the allies of talking on behalf of Ukrainian people. So thank you so much. As to our wonderful Perrysburg, as we're entering a holiday season, it seems like it's a holiday season all year long. I like to thank everyone for all of those decorations we have on our houses. It's wonderful to introduce the foreigners to American culture, seeing all of this active involvement. I very much appreciate that. I also would like to thank everyone who encourage us foreigners to engage in the small talks. That's not always intuitive outside of the United States, but in Northwest Ohio, that's one of the key features that makes us welcoming. So I appreciate that very much. And stay tuned. Follow up on our social media. Visit foua.org. Thank you for being you.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks again for being here on the Perrysburg podcast, Alana. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you again to Alona Matchenko for being my guest today on episode 58 of the Perrysburg podcast. I enjoyed hearing about what brought Alana to Perrysburg, why she likes living here, how Toledo Helps Ukraine is making an impact in the world, locally and in the Ukraine, and how the Perrysburg community can help. For anyone who feels called to help with Pallets for a Purpose through September 30th, or donate to Toledo Helps Ukraine if you find this episode after September 2024, I want to give you the details. And by the way, the details are also in the show notes on perrysburgpodcast.com. Just find episode 58. Everything's right there. All right, here we go. Monetary donations can be mailed to Toledo Helps Ukraine, Post Office Box 634, 1205 Louisiana Avenue, Perrysburg, Ohio 43552. And if you don't recognize that zip code, it's because that's the Perrysburg Post Office. And also, if you are sending a check, make a check payable to Toledo Helps Ukraine, or go online and donate at foua.org. That's the number 4, the letter U like umbrella, the letter A like apple, .org, foua.org. If you'd like to donate items through September 30th, 2024, here's a little bit about that from the website. Toledo Helps Ukraine is providing emergency relief. The website says, this summer, we are launching Pallets for a Purpose. The goal is to help provide critical humanitarian and essential items to Ukrainians to help them make their cities, villages, schools, and medical facilities livable and functional. We will be working with area small, medium, and large companies to donate one or more pallets of items from the list of critical items needed. Toledo Helps Ukraine will ship the pallets to Ukraine once they are collected, and they will arrive in Ukraine in the fall. Our goal is to collect the items in volume and thereby distribute dozens of pallets directly to Ukraine. Toledo Helps Ukraine will collect power tools, building supplies, tarps, work gloves, work boots, socks, batteries, flashlights, and generators, along with canned goods and non-perishable dry food. Tarps will ensure families can repair roofs to make their homes livable. Power tools and building supplies are in critical short supply in Ukraine, so these items will be a lifeline for repairs and the rebuilding of homes, schools, and medical facilities. Many of the roads and terrain in Ukraine have been bombed or damaged, so work boots are needed for men, women, and children. In addition, many of the soldiers have limited winter items like gloves and boots. Many wear tennis shoes in sub-zero winter months as they're fighting. That ends the information about Pallets for a Purpose from the Toledo Helps Ukraine website. If you are able to donate power tools, building supplies, tarps, work gloves, work boots, socks, batteries, flashlights, and generators, along with canned goods and non-perishable dry food. They are looking for new items, I believe. Donate if you can. Now, where can you donate? Where can you drop off your donations if you're donating items? You can donate them at Lutheran Church of the Master. They are accepting donations between 8 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock in the morning every Sunday or by appointment through September 30th, 2024. I will put contact information for the by appointment part of that statement in the show notes. The address for Lutheran Church of the Master is 28744 Simmons Rd Perrysburg. I mentioned earlier that it's somewhere on the east side of Perrysburg, and that's pretty accurate. I go to Lutheran Church of the Master nearly every Sunday. That's my church, and you, as a listener, may know our little Lutheran church for the rummage sale that we used to have every summer, usually in July. It was very popular. The church is also very close to where the turnpike meets I-75. Drop off your items by September 30th, 2024, and thank you for your support. Now, before I wrap this episode up, I mentioned Thrivent. So at this time, I'd like to tell you about how Thrivent is helping me buy flashlights for Pallets for a Purpose. I am a Thrivent customer. Now, think of Thrivent as an investment and insurance company. They offer their customers like me the opportunity to write a grant to help other people. So basically, it's $250. That's the amount of the grant. $250 to help with anything from a service project to a disaster relief project or an educational event. I have written many grants in my day, and Thrivent has been very good to me. So when I heard about Pallets for a Purpose, I thought, I should write a grant. So I wrote the grant got approved, and I am waiting for the money to come in the mail. When I found out the grant was approved, I reached out to Alana and I asked her to name the number one thing that she would like to use a $250 grant for, and she said flashlights. So once I received the funds, the Johnson family, who Alana mentioned during the interview as a host family for a Ukrainian refugee family, will help me buy the flashlights at our local Lowe's. So Lowe's, I'm coming for you. I've got some money to spend. I will spend it here locally in the Perrysburg area. I just wanted to share that story and say thank you, Thrivent, for the grant. You are helping me help Toledo Helps Ukraine. They appreciate it, and so do I. Thank you. I think that's a happy note to end on. Perrysburg is a very supportive community, and Northwest Ohio is a great place to live. I love it here. Alana's happy here, and I am happy that I had the chance to meet Alana and hear about what brought her to Perrysburg, why she likes living here, Pallets for a Purpose, and Toledo Helps Ukraine. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Alana too. Thank you for listening to episode 58 of the Perrysburg Podcast. Please visit perrysburgpodcast.com to read the show notes. In the show notes, you will find a link to the website for Toledo Helps Ukraine, the address to donate to Toledo Helps Ukraine by check, the address for Lutheran Church of the Master, just in case you want to drop off items for Pallets for a Purpose before September 30th, 2024. You'll also find a link to Thrivent's website, just in case you're curious about the grant. I believe it's called Thrivent Action Teams. Thrivent Action Teams. And also in the show notes, I'll put some links to other interviews with Perrysburg residents that I've done here on the Perrysburg Podcast. Lots of links today. Everything you need is on perrysburgpodcast.com. If you would like to be notified of each new episode of the Perrysburg Podcast, join the email list today. You can sign up on perrysburgpodcast.com. If you know someone who might like this episode or might like to help with Pallets for a Purpose or Toledo Helps Ukraine, go ahead and share this episode with them. I would very much appreciate it. And if you like this podcast, please come on back and also subscribe to or follow the Perrysburg Podcast on your favorite podcast player and YouTube so you get each new episode right when it comes out. Thanks again for listening. I will talk to you next week.
I can just tell how wonderful it is to see those 18 families building their life here in the United States among us. 67 men, women, and children are integrated fully in our community. They are working, serving our society here in America. Of course, they still have a long way to recover from what they had to go through, but it's wonderful to see people having a hope and peace here on different land.